Hello and welcome to Loving Our Fears with Shikharastogi. Several years ago, as I struggled with deep suffering due to a couple of untimely deaths in my family and a series of other personal losses which just kept coming one after another, I pulled away from society because I thought they wouldn't understand the depths of my pain and suffering. I thought no one would be able to relate to my pain because they weren't going through what I was going through. I was bitter about life and was angry with the universe for all the challenging situations I was facing in my life at the time. I was depressed and would live in a constant state of anxiety, waiting for the next shoe to drop. And it wasn't until 2007 when I finally reached a tipping point in my life where I was so tired of suffering that I wanted to put an end to it. But I wanted to put an end to a better way to live life, not by ending it. I would often think that there has to be a better way to live life, and I just wanted to find that better way, a way out of my suffering. However, I didn't really have a clue where I could begin. Then, almost 1 year later, in 2008, when Oprah selected Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, for her book club, and also started the online webinars with Eckhart, I remember buying A New Earth, hoping that I may be able to read it and listen to the webinars and may be able to put an end to my suffering. But as I began to read A New Earth, I realized that I didn't quite understand the words that I was reading. It was a reality check for me, a quick fix suffering mindset, and my hopes to put an end to my suffering seemed like a tall order. But even though I had to put A New Earth away, but over the next decade, I continued reading other self-help and spiritual books that resonated with me, and I would also listen to spiritual teachers, including Eckhart. I also learned to meditate and to breathe deeply and started integrating these practices into my everyday life. More importantly, I grabbed every practicing what I had been learning in these spiritual teachings. In the beginning, I would constantly fail, but over time with practice, I started to get better at viewing my own suffering from another perspective, a perspective of love instead of fear, a perspective of compassion and kindness instead of resentment and hatred. Since I was determined to learn how to live a better life, that determination has helped me understand that getting to the other side of suffering is a process. It is a process of evolution, of unfolding, of becoming more conscious, more awake, more loving, more compassionate towards my suffering self. Although this process has been messy, long, and challenging to say the least, it has been the best gift I could have ever given myself, the gift of love, compassion, and consciousness. Today, as I look back on my years of suffering, it seems to me like I made a choice, although unconsciously at that time. I chose peace, or at least chose to find a way to uncover that peace over my deep suffering. Ever since 2007, I have been using suffering to help guide me into understanding who I am and what I love, and to initiate change, to stop reacting to everything and everyone around me, learning to let go of control, and to be myself fearlessly. But living consciously with love and compassion for myself, even when I'm suffering and in pain, is a choice that I didn't just make once. I make that choice every single day, and sometimes on hard days, I have to make this choice over and over again. So you see, suffering presented an opportunity to me, and that's exactly what suffering presents to everybody. An opportunity to get in touch with the lost you. The you which got buried deep inside your heart and got lost because of everything you had to face in your life so far. The circumstances, the people, the rejections, the heartbreaks, the heartaches, the losses, every single thing. But the key is to allow yourself to feel your suffering, similar to when you allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling when you are on a thrilling ride. You close your eyes and let go of control and do your best to enjoy the ride, no matter how scared you may be. And that's exactly what you need to do. Let go of your instinctive reactions to control your suffering and to reach for compassion, love, and kindness. Use it to view yourself as an innocent child hurting badly and needing all of your love, compassion, and kindness. Because most times, instead of using suffering to go deeper into yourself and evolve, human beings try very hard to run away from it. Instead of embracing suffering and allowing it to move through us, we get stuck fighting with it with all our might. And because we fight with our suffering, it only gets stronger and we unconsciously move deeper into it. Another very important thing I understood about suffering is that assuming others won't understand my suffering caused me to suffer even more, because as I pulled away from suffering, I felt more lonely and alone, having to pull the heavy weight of my suffering completely on my shoulders. What I understood in the process is that all suffering is the same, regardless of why you are suffering, because it originates from a place of hurt and fear for everybody. And although I don't propose participating in suffering parties where all people are doing is complaining about their life and their suffering, however, what I would love to see happen in our societies is that more and more people start talking about their own pain and suffering and how they get through it on an everyday basis. Because when more and more people start letting go of the shame and guilt around their own pain and suffering caused by their humanness, that's when everyone will begin to feel safe and less lonely and less alone. People will feel less ashamed in their own sufferings. They will feel more connected to each other and more hopeful. They will be able to get inspired to let go of their own suffering because they'll see real life examples of what is possible when you actually let go of your suffering. So the question is, are you willing to stop hiding your pain and suffering and start sharing with the world?